in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for our webinar on Beyond the Feds, Proven Fundraising Strategies for Healthy Relationship Programs. On our panel today is Carol Jackson, Erin Stone, and Kathy Schleier, all of whom have successfully raised local funds for their efforts. I'm Aaron Larson, and joining me today for this webinar is Kathy Guidry, our webinar organizer. Hi, Kathy.
Hi, Aaron. Hi, everyone. I'm glad to be here this afternoon.
So before we begin, I'd like to point out a few housekeeping tips. If you experience audio difficulties during this broadcast, please write down the phone number listed here or on the link in your email about the webinar. You can then listen on the phone while viewing the broadcast on your computer. We recommend that you use earphones while connected to the broadcast. If you have any additional technical questions, you may send inquiries through the question box located on the control panel. We will have time for questions at the end of each presentation, so hold your questions until the end of each presentation, and if your question is not addressed during this time, you will definitely receive an answer through email. We are recording this webinar, and it will be available early next week. Just go to our website, and you will find the recording for this webinar and all of our previous webinars. Now, before we turn the time over to our panelists, I wanted to introduce you to the Dibble Institute. The Dibble Institute is a national independent nonprofit organization dedicated to equipping all young people with the skills and knowledge they need to develop healthy romantic relationships now and for their futures. In the picture that you see on the screen is our founder, Charlie Dibble, with his wife Helen. And Charlie, with the support of fellow businessmen and educators, founded the Dibble Institute. There's more information on Charlie on our website. Just go to About Us on our website toolbar to learn more about Charlie and also our core beliefs, one of which is that while we are pro-marriage, we are not anti-divorce for everyone. And you can read more about our beliefs at our website. So I'm excited to hear from today's panelists on raising local funds. The first person that we're going to hear from is Carol Jackson. Carol is the Director of Family Matters in Memphis, Tennessee. She has been involved with marriage strengthening programs for more than 20 years and has been part of the Family Matters team since 2008. So Carol, I'll turn the time over to you.
Thanks, Aaron. How is everyone? I hope everyone's great. My name is Carol Jackson, and I run an organization in Memphis, Tennessee called Families Matter. You see our tagline on the screen. It simply says, strengthening families, changing lives, transforming Memphis. That's what we're all about, is transforming this city and even looking beyond, because we realize that families are the bedrock to our society. Next slide, please, Kathy. We are all about our mission, and our mission is to increase the number of healthy, loving, and caring families through a community-wide movement. And we do that by partnering with different organizations here in Memphis and in Shelby County. So the increase is the part that I really want to emphasize, because we want that number to increase as far as the number of healthy and loving and caring families. Next slide, please. Families Matters 2013 results. In 2013, we had over 17,000 encounters in our different programs, which were the school programs, church, our fatherhood initiative, and our partnering with other organizations. So there were all types of things going on where we taught healthy relationship skills to teens, and we were involved with others as far as making sure that we were partnering with other organizations. Next slide, please. In talking about this building beyond the feds and getting our funds, it is so important that we all recognize that the way we do that is by building healthy relationship skills. And we have to build, in order for us to build healthy relationship skills in others, we literally have to do those things that we talk about. In order for us to get at our results, we with 33 schools, with 45 teachers, with over 80 churches. We do work in hospitals and with many collaborating organizations. And we have a pretty good span of volunteers. So we want to make sure that we, in this delivery, we help you understand the importance of building those healthy relationship skills. Thanks, Kathy. Next slide. The way we did that, you can see the summation on the screen. Was within connections in high schools. We had our fatherhood program where we met with men and young boys and talked to them about the necessity of being healthy in their families' lives. Our relationships with churches, what we did within school assemblies and within events. Next slide, please, Kathy. And to sum how we did that this is how going beyond the fence, in order for Families Matter to do what it's doing in the community, we have had to have an active board of directors. So this is how we get some of our funds. We've built relationships with those in the community from different aspects of the community, and we've asked them to participate on our board. And there is an expectation, some can, some cannot, but this an active board of directors. Then we're a small organization. There's only 3 of us full-time on staff. And so we're very small, but we talk to individuals. I'm always working a room. I heard one of the panelists say on yesterday that she loves to work a crowd. Well, I do too. Love to work a crowd because I love to get into that crowd when we're at events, explain what we're doing, find out the individual's interest, and ask the individual to come and learn something about Families Matter because they might end up being a supporter. Then another source of funding for us comes from churches. Anytime we're involved with churches, we let them know we are not coming in to ask them for anything. We're actually coming in to give them something. But in the event that we are able to give, we also ask their permission with us. So that's really important for Families Matter here in Memphis. Then our connection to corporations. We have found that there's a niche in having a corporation, in that corporation, understand what we are trying to deliver to the general public. And we talk to them about how we do things and try to marry what we're doing with what they're trying to accomplish. Do our missions align? If our missions align, then we look at ways that we can partner so that we can get some of that corporation support. But whether we get the support, the financial support or not, we want to build that relationship because in the immediate time frame, we might not get the support, but later on, some financial support might come. Foundations, they are critical to the funding that we get because we get very little federal funding, and as this is going beyond the feds. So we target some of the foundations here that are family friendly, that believe in building healthy relationships within families. So we try to make sure that we're constantly building relationships with people in corporations and within foundations that will support our efforts within the community. And then there's the honorarium. This is something that one of our board members came up with, which has been wonderful for us, in that when someone dies, or if there's a birthday, or for Christmas, we do Christmas cards. There's different things that we try to do that will honor a particular day or a person or a celebration, where in lieu of giving a financial gift or sending flowers, we ask them to do something in lieu of but give the gift to Families Matter. and that has been very profitable for us. And then one that's not listed here is we are not a United Way designated company. However, we have asked several of our people that's involved with us to designate us as so that their United Way funds will be designated to Families Matter.
Muted.
This year we received quite a few funds based on the fact that people would write us in as their designated organization. And then we have an annual walk run event. We're a family organization, so rather than us calling it a runners
Unmuted.
we call it a walk run event where we invite the family to participate with us. It's a day of fun in the park. Memphis has one of the largest parks in the nation called Shelby Farm Parks, and what we do is invite people out. They can go swimming, they can go fishing, they can hike, they can do a lot of different things, ride their bikes. We invite them to come and share that day with us, and we use it as a fundraiser. And in that, we try to build our relationship with people in the community so that they begin to understand the necessity of having healthy relationships within their families. That is pretty much what we're doing as far as raising funds here in Memphis and Shelby County. And it's been an honor talking to you all about what we do and how we do it. And so if there's any questions, I'd love to take those at this time. Erin?
Yeah, so let's go ahead and give everyone just a minute or two to type in some questions in the question box. But while they're doing that, while we're giving them some time, so I was curious a little bit about that family walk run. It sounds like it's a wonderful event and just a lot of fun. How exactly do you end up raising money from it?
Well, the way we raise money for it, Erin, is first of all, we get sponsors. That's one of our major ways to get some sponsors. So we have, whether we have a gold sponsor or a signature sponsor, we put certain titles on it and we send information out to the community so that we can get sponsors. And then there's a small registration fee for everyone that participates, which is like $22. And then I think we charge $5 or $6 for every child that might participate, because we want to keep it so that a family of 4 can come and it not break the bank. So it's through getting our sponsors and then the registration fee.
Oh, that sounds great. So Kathy, does anybody else have any questions yet?
Actually, there is a question here about your corporation donations. Are you also, Carol, including small businesses in that? And the question is, are you talking about local corporations or larger corporations? And how hard is that money to actually solidify for you?
I'm talking about local. We've not gone outside of Memphis and Shelby County for funding. So I'm talking about local, and sometimes it is hard to, the major thing that I want to stress in getting that is we build a relationship first with someone within that corporation. Once that relationship is built, then it's not nearly as difficult to make a presentation to the person that would do the approval and actually get the funds. Through building the relationship, so many times I'll invite the person to come to board meetings and things like that so they can actually hear not only what I'm saying, they can see some of the things that's going on, and then they can also hear from some of the board members that are here that's on our board so that they get a good feel for what we're doing in the community. And we also ask people, if they're considering giving to us, come and go and sit in on a class or a seminar or something that we might have going on, you know, so that they can get a feel for the impact we're having in the community.
Oh, great. So the corporations you're going to, most of the time the decision makers are right there in Memphis area.
Yes, they are.
Great.
They are.
Okay. Erin, I think we can move on. Thank you, Carol.
Okay. Well, and actually one more question.
Kathy.
Yeah, one more question for you, Carol. And that is so just a little bit more details. When you ask those companies to sponsor the family walk run, what exactly does that entail? Do they give like $500 and then they get their name on a banner, or how does that work?
Well, how that works is last year we had several um, sponsorships. Our $2,000 sponsorship was for like the sponsor of the event. So they got their name on all of our advertising. They got their name on the T-shirts. They were actually given a certain amount of T-shirts, so that if it was a corporation, when they came, they would wear our T-shirts. So it was different levels. We had a $2,000, $1,000, $500, a $250, and a $100. And we marketed it to everyone, to the corporations that sponsor us all the time, to the foundations, to the churches. So we had just a plethora of people, of organizations that actually decided to sponsor us.
No,
And go ahead.
No, go ahead.
And we found that not only did they enjoy coming, but they liked the T-shirts. It's awesome for me to be in the park and see someone in a Families Matter T-shirt, you know?
Right.
And so it's just a great way to advertise not only our fun day, but also to advertise, to continue that advertisement throughout the year, because they're wearing the T-shirts.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, you get kind of the double kick. So would you say you probably raise, it sounds like you raise at least 10,000, if not more, just from that one event?
We raised over $20,000 for that one event.
Wow.
Wow, that's
great.
fabulous.
Yeah, and $20,000 can go a long way in delivering services throughout the community. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much, Carol, and hopefully we'll have some additional time at the end for maybe some additional questions. And so the next person that we are going to hear from, our next panelist, is Erin Stone, and she is the Executive Director of the Relationship Skills Center of Sacramento. She's an experienced nonprofit manager and fund development professional with over 30 years of experience in team building, community outreach, youth training, volunteer recruitment, and of course fundraising. And so, Erin, we're excited to hear what kind of tips and wisdom and nuggets that you have for us.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you, Carol. I love the T-shirts. I always say never underestimate the. I think that works in Memphis as well. We can go on to the next slide. We are the Relationship Skills Center, and we are a 501c3 nonprofit. You can actually advance one more if you could, Kathy. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization here in Sacramento. Our mission is to build a better community by strengthening people's relationship skills. And really, to that end is our vision, where every child would grow up in a healthy family. So we are really key, next slide, sorry. We are really key about providing access to affordable and effective relationship skills training. This is actually my gang in the picture and what motivates me every day. And the relationship skills that I have learned within this family is really what helps keep me going all the time, and what keeps me working rooms at any opportunity, whether it's the soccer games or one of my husband's corporate events. So that is how we help. Next slide, please. We have a variety of programs that we do here at the Relationship Skills Center. We have our Flourishing Families program, which is our adult program. We teach in English and in Spanish for all parents, single parents, parenting couples, same-sex parents. We don't care how you're parents, we want to talk to you. And then we have our youth program that we are doing this summer is our first direct services for youth program. And this is what we needed to raise funds for. So we are using Dibble's Relationship Smart curriculum for this. And if you'll move to the next slide, we really had a great desire to reach youth. We had been doing our parent programs, and we had been doing youth programs in the community, but not as direct services. We had been providing curriculum to other organizations and helping train their trainers, but really wanted the opportunity to reach youth directly and to be able to control the environment. So in order to do that, we didn't have lots of money, and we definitely needed some funding. We found 5 or 6 sites here in the Sacramento area where we could collaborate with existing youth programs. So things like the Sacramento Food Bank Services or our foster youth program, Courageous Connections, our local libraries like Colonial Heights, or our recreation districts, La Familia, programs that already had some kind of summer camp program where we could come in and enrich what they already had going on. So we didn't have to find the youth or the sites, and this helped reduce the amount that we would actually need for funding, and also helped to support programs that were already in our community with a well-rounded curriculum about relationships. And so this is the approach that we took. And if we can go to the next slide, this is the little flyer that we used for that Relationship Smart program and for promoting it. Oops. Can we go to the next slide, Kathy?
I'm on the one with the poster. Maybe it's just moving slow. Is that what you need?
Yeah. So Kathy, next slide. Yeah, next slide.
Oh.
Thank you. So the Relationship Smart curriculum, these are the programs that we are working with, the existing programs, things like the food bank. We select there, we selected that 7th and 8th grade target audience really because we thought we could get the biggest bang for the buck. So this is just the flyer that we're using to help promote. They really set the program, and we provided the instructors, the curriculum, and all of the materials needed for the classes. And we provided this service for free to the existing organizations. It also gave us the opportunity to either continue collaborations with these organizations or to reach out in some cases and develop new collaborations with them. All right, next slide if we can.
Yeah, and I think my internet's just a little slow. Erin, I think the internet's a little bit moving slow, so just give it a few minutes and it'll turn.
There we go. We're on it now. So
all right,
this
good.
Is how we fundraised to get those dollars, and really it was some long-term commitment. Certainly our board participation. We have several board members who have been or are continually involved with our Rotary. And we were lucky enough to be the recipient of our Bids for Kids program, and that allowed us to get some initial funding and to also make sure that we were honoring the intent of the donor, which was to support youth in the Sacramento community. So that was provided us with a nice start with regards to funding. We also participated in the National Day of Giving, and that National Day of Giving was this last May 6th. Our local community foundation and community foundations across the United States participated in this, so it should be available to many folks. Our local community foundation did a big day of giving, so the big dog, as part of that National Day. One of the really wonderful things about this is crowdsourcing. This was all done online. There was certainly some advanced planning that went into it, but no one had to set up a table or cook spaghetti or clean up afterwards. So it was really nice. The costs were very minimal, and we raised over $9,000 from that one day, all online.
Wow.
We absolutely work with grants and foundations here locally. So whether that's a Sure West Foundation, which is our communications company, or local health organizations. We look for even those small dollars, $500 to $2,500, that helps to meet their objectives and missions in supporting the community around relationships. And we use frequently our Constant Contact e-blast. And I really want to stress this a lot. We have about 8,000 people on this list. And we don't always ask for something. I know Carol mentioned this as well, give first. So we'll share information about what's happening in the community, the stories from our participants, youth and adults, the things that we are doing to improve the Sacramento community. And what happens is then when we do an ask through that e-blast, I think we get really nice results from that. You know, whether that's to help support our youth program or our adult program or some other activity that we have going on. They've been getting great information and ideas from us. And so we use that constant contact truly to stay in contact and to connect with our supporters. And those aren't just donors. So those are people who've participated in our classes, people who believe in our cause and our mission, just a way to stay connected with them. And we are probably sending that e-blast out about every month. So it's not on a super set timeline, but I would say we're sending that 10 to 15 times throughout the year. And then finally, as mentioned, I do love to work a room. So if that is shaking hands and kissing babies, I will tell our story anywhere and to anyone who will give me the opportunity to share it. And you just never know who you might connect with. And this has been, I think, just a real willingness to share the mission and to practice that elevator speech and share it with as many people as possible. You never know when and where those funds might come from, and it could be further down the line. And to also get your board to be willing to do that outreach and to look for those funds at every opportunity. So that is the basis of what we are doing. We also, are giving to organizations like the Center for Fathers and Families and Child Support and Big Brothers Big Sisters, Jack and Jill of America, doing little presentations for them, give without asking for much back to build those collaborations, and then certainly with local media. So, being on air at the local television station, promoting our youth program, and then we got some additional calls about how people could get involved or support the organization, doing those press releases and news alerts, just looking for the opportunity for coverage whenever we can get it to tell our story. So I think that is all I have. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, so Kathy, unless there's a question already in the box, I actually have one for you, Erin, and that is when it comes to the Rotary Club. How did you guys go about applying for that? Was that an established relationship that you already had? Did they send out kind of a request for proposals? I mean, how would people approach their local Rotary Club?
So it was an existing relationship we have. A couple of our board members are involved in different Rotary organizations in the Sacramento area. And in particular, one of our board members was the president of the Sacramento Rotary, and he gets to decide who is the beneficiary of the Bids for Kids for that year. So that was a long-standing relationship and someone who had believed in our cause. So it was not an RFP, but it was that connection to another service organization, and it was easy for him to sell that, I think, in so many words, to his Rotary, because we had been willing to go out and do talks and make presentations and to share information with the Rotary clubs in the area so that they knew who we were. So the dollars raised from that, I think, are a direct indication of how supportive the members felt based on us having made that circuit and providing information from them in advance of us being selected as the Bids for Kids recipient.
Yeah, so it sounds a lot like what Carol was talking about, how important it is to have an active board of directors. And in your guys' case, that active board member was somebody who was able to bring in quite a bit of money from the Rotary Club. And,
absolutely. I
so,
think that's dead on. And making sure that your board members are equipped with the tools needed to be able to talk intelligently about the organization and why it's important to them.
Yeah.
And I have a question from one of our attendees here, Jennifer, and this is an interesting question, and I'm sure you're going to say it depends, but who do you think, Erin, should be making the approach to initiate these relationships that will actually turn into dollars, the program staff or the development team or both?
Well, we're small, so I will tell you that I'm still in the classroom teaching, and I am the entire fund development department, and I'm the executive director. So
there you go.
I think for many of us, I also do janitorial services on the weekends. So I do think that that it depends, but I think that is really the role. If you're lucky enough to have a fund development department, great. And but I also think it's really important for everyone who represents the organization, whether that's an instructor or a specialist or a program person who's out in the community, board members, volunteers, that they understand enough about the program. We do some real sharing around making sure that everyone who's involved with us has at least some basic knowledge, so that when someone says, "What did you do yesterday?" they can say, I was at the Relationship Skills Center, or I was teaching for the Relationship Skills Center, and talk about what our mission is and why it's important. And then for them to feel free to, if someone has some interest, to get them to me. And I have been to my share of mystery chicken dinners, or go speak for 10 minutes at the end of some program. Sometimes it's to 6 people, sometimes it's to 600. But really just that willingness to share the story. And the more fingers and people you can have out in the community to share that information, even if it's just to make those connections and then they get them back to fund development or the executive director.
Right.
Yeah, and so that really does, it sounds like, I was just going to say that it sounds like that really is the key, that this really is a long-term strategy in terms of planting seeds in as many places as you can. Some of them will grow into some amazing trees that provide a lot of cash, and others may not, but you just got to spread the seeds and continue to nurture.
Excellent analogy, Erin.
Okay. And the other question I might have, if you could give kind of a brief answer, Erin, is can you give a little bit more details about the big day of giving? You say it's all online. How is that? How have you kind of hooked into that piece of fundraising?
Part of the National Day of Giving, so that is a national a national giving campaign, and we did a lot with our Constant Contact in advance, letting people know that we were going to be participating. Because it was called Big Dog, we did a little countdown, the days till, with different dog pictures and strategies, and then definitely on the day of, encouraging people to give, letting them know that we gave. We had 100% board participation giving, really through social media, so Facebook and Twitter, reaching out to those networks, those social media networks. And 55% of our donors on the big day of giving were first-time donors to our organization.
Wow,
so
that's
really
fabulous.
Was outreach through social media. Most of those donations too. I think our average donation for that day was about $60. So donations anywhere from $25 up. So small amounts that really do add up to big numbers. As those donations were coming in, we were making phone calls or sending text messages back, thanking people, giving them shout outs on our page, which then they liked and got more of their friends and network of people aware of what was going on.
Wow.
Yeah, the power of social media is absolutely amazing, and it's a great tool that we have access to these days.
The nice thing about the being part of the National Day and our local Big Day of Giving was that there was some excitement and other media around that wasn't specific to the Skills Center, but was absolutely, built sort of a little frenzy, so that when the actual day came, I think across the board there was an excitement in Sacramento. The Sacramento region had almost 400 nonprofits participate, and we raised over $3 million on that one day.
Wow.
That's tremendous.
That's great.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Erin. And so who we are going to hear from next is Kathy Schleier. She is the Executive Director of Family Frameworks in Dalton, Georgia. She became interested in strengthening marriages in 1997 after seeing so many children suffering from the effects of divorce. She helped start the Marriage Covenant movement with area pastors in 1998. And she started the Whitfield Murray Marriage Initiative with the help of a Compassion Fund grant in August of 2004. But as a lot of people who get grants found out, those small grants go away, and And so she had to figure out another way to continue to fund her great efforts. And so, Kathy, we're excited to hear how you were able to pull off that little minor miracle.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting to go through that. I've learned a lot in the last 10 years that I would never learn. And I really appreciated Carol and Erin. They brought out some very good points that I'll probably reiterate a little bit of those because, yeah, I think we're all doing a little bit of the same stuff, which is wonderful. There are 3 things I do, and I'm going to go over theirs to make it over those things and try to let you know what I'm actually doing, okay? Who are we? We are a 501c3, just as the others two are, because most people aren't going to want to give to you unless you are, because that is pretty much says we really are serious about being a nonprofit, and we have applied for that licensure. So we are a 501c3. And for the last 10 years, I'm kind of like Erin. I'm everything in the office, but most of the time I have not gotten paid. We have just recently started a part-time staff. So one of the biggest things we have found we had to do is to keep our expenses down. So we started with nothing again in 2006, and over the last 10 years, now we're receiving about 40% from private donations or fundraisers end of the year. We get 35% from the United Way monies, 25% from private grants, and 25% from programs. The 40% we'll raise with the end of the year ask. We always do an end of the year, very similar to what Carol was talking about. You know, it's Christmas, let's send out. That's when people are most willing to be generous and think about others. So we send it out, let them know that, you know, hey, we need to go on for another year, please support us. And we also have donations during the year. We try to get some monthly when we have our big fundraiser, and that's coming up for us in just a few weeks. It's called the Ultimate Tailgate. We try to do everything that we do to attract men, because men don't really get real interested in marriage stuff. So we're trying to be very male friendly and have fun doing it, but also give a message with that. So our biggest fundraiser, we raise about 10 to 15,000 using the same process as Carol and Erin, using sponsorships, and then we do an ask, and I'm going to get into that a little bit more. Now, we do take United Way monies. In small towns, it's a lot different than in the big towns. In our little town, we do not have a big diversity in our economic, in our industry here. Y'all may have heard us on the news because we had the highest unemployment rate since 2007, and we're starting to come out of that. But we come from carpet, and that's the last thing people want to buy when there's a recession going on. So we have depended on United Way, and United Way goes around to all of the companies here in town, and they will ask for the money that we ask them for. But the people trust them. We've got relationships with them, etc. Now the others come from 25% comes from private grants. We get everything from you talked about Rotary. Well, we go for Kiwanis. Kiwanis is what focuses on the children here. And we also focus on Walmart. It's got a grant. Other industries, we're looking at insurance companies. We go for what banks. Wells Fargo has some private grants. We also look at other private grants that are individual. We have an individual here in town that is a winner of the lottery, and so much is given out every year from the lottery monies. So we ask for those, a grant from that. We also have some other general fundraisers. One of us called Open, and that's where they have this big golf tournament, and they're making $100,000, over $100,000 something dollars a year from that particular Roman Open, and they give out to different charities. So we apply for one of those grants. So there's a lot of different grants. We just seek those out. Now, the 25% we get from programs, we have come up with different programs that we do charge for. Our most effective one is the Dating My Spouse program. And that is where we've gone around and gotten about 12 to 15 different restaurants. We're small. We don't get a lot of, we don't have a lot of restaurants around here. So we find the restaurants that will participate with us, and usually they're going to be your mom and pop places, and ask them for once a month, if they will give a buy one, get one free or buy one, get one half off. And people will buy, we have couples buying the app where they can present it, or they've got a card that will show that they're in the program, and they get that discount, which will save them around $10 for a night out. We do that not just it wasn't truly just a fundraiser. It was actually one that we wanted to encourage couples to get out and date. But we do bring in monies from the program. It's not our biggest money maker, but it does bring some revenue. All right, Kathy, go on. Okay. When I say there are 3 things that you have to be willing to do, the first one is you got to be willing to do it for nothing. And I think I've proven this because I've been doing it for 10 years for nothing. And it takes passion. I am bivocational, if you want to say that, because I'm a pediatric nurse practitioner. I'm able to do this on the side as I'm working for my employer. And so he has been very generous with me and lets me, when I have some free time, I'm able to work on that. So you've got to it provides a different attitude when you're doing it for nothing. It means you really, really want to see this happen. And when other people see you do it for nothing, you keep going, they're a lot more willing to help you. They see that you're very serious about it. So I have found that I have a lot of people watching me in particular and watching my board in particular, what we're doing, and they watch to see how effective we are and whether we're going to continue. It's taken a lot of trust for several, but they want to just watch and believe in us. So we're letting them do that. Kathy, go ahead. With the second one, just like Carol and Erin, you've got to build the relationships. I joined everything, just like Erin said. I joined Kiwanis. I joined a business group. I go to different classes. I go to all the churches. I went to all the guess which chicken this is today programs and all that. So we get in there and you just build those relationships, but you've got to make sure that you don't just build it for the sake of making the money. It's got to be a genuine, you've got to look at the people. And I don't know how to say that. It's got to come from your heart, okay? And you always look, you got to look past what's in it for me, but look at what's in it for them. The WIFM is always what's in this for me. And you want to look and try to put yourself in their shoes. How can you help them? Because they're much more likely to work with you. And I think Carol said that. She's partnered with people just as I have. Erin has said that. We all have to see how can we help them and partner. Enjoy them, enjoy the process. And I love the fact that you can't do this by yourself. And I kind of learned this from a lot of reading with Jim Collins and his books. Big only happens through relationships because you can't do it by yourself. No way we can do it by ourselves. The only way we can grow up big is through other people. Okay, go ahead. The third thing that I'll do is I'll have to be patient. At first, when I first started, it was like I was pretty obnoxious because I wanted to get the word out so bad. And I thought I had to do this, I have to do that, I have to do that. But I learned that I had to just be patient, build the relationships, keep working, keep showing. It was proven to me again just a few weeks ago. I had gotten a letter from another United Way in one of the other counties we're trying to get in. We're not in that county yet. They're not ready to sponsor us yet. Be patient. I've got to go back, build those relationships, get in there and work. They've got to trust me, etc., to know that I'm worthy of the funds. So be patient. Keep working. They're watching to see, are you serious? Are you going to be here for a while? Is this organization just a little mom and pop wannabe, or are you serious about doing what you're going to do? Is it working? Are you sustainable? They're going to look at what you've done and how you're building the funding, etc. And are you willing to stick with it? It takes a lot of time for people to believe you. They're going to watch you over and over. We're coming up to our 8th tailgate, and they're starting to believe us now. And I'm getting a lot more funding. Each year we build on the previous, and each year we get more monies. Usually, and I found this, that it was interesting that most nonprofits that make it usually have to hang in there for a minimum of 10 years. So a little bit different than small businesses or 5, but nonprofits. If you're going to be sustainable, hang in there for 10 years. Go ahead. Fundraisers. I remember I'd heard this at a conference I went, don't do a fundraiser for just the money. Just like Carol was saying with the walk and so forth, you need to do it because it's also going to benefit people, and it relates to what your mission is. Make sure there's a relationship there. Know your target audience, know your goals, and ask is so important if you're doing anything that involves, if you're not doing like a run or something like that, but make sure it's very clear that you're asking for support. You need to decide whether you're going to charge or are you not going to charge for an event. And to get into that with our tailgate, and what are the costs and what would the sponsorships be, and how are you going to set your sponsorships up. And then the final thing that I do with my fundraisers, you've got to collect all the names of people that come, and especially those that give, and keep track of your givers. Keep asking them back, keep them in touch, keep building relationships with them, because they're the ones that care about you. They're the ones that care about the cause that you're after. Okay, go ahead, next. And this is showing one of our fundraisers. We started the Ultimate Tailgate, like I said. The Ultimate Tailgate, we tried to come up with something that would be kind of fun for guys. What do guys in the South like? Football. So just before football season begins, we try to bring in coaches. We have found that most of our teaching with Healthy Choices is in our health class, and our coaches are the ones teaching the health class. So it's a good relationship going with coaches, especially football coaches. We'll bring a famous coach in. We've brought in Dan Reeves. We brought in the Dooleys. We brought in Bobby Bowden. We're bringing in Gene Stallings. We try to be very, very conscientious about the cost, because if you get some of the, somebody like a Tony Dungy, that one is around $25,000. That eats up all your monies. So you go for the retired guys that have been out there for a while, and they're known by the older people, because your target audience, usually for something like this that you're doing an ask, are going to be the people that have money, and they're the ones that are usually 50 and older, and they're going to remember some of the older guys. So that's been our strategy, as we try to go to that direction. But we'll have some younger people there too. You'll see some sitting at the table, because they need to get the message. Plus, we're trying to get an ask out also for volunteers. Go ahead and go to the next one. We try to make it a lot of fun. We decorate the tables, as you see. Those are some of our speakers, Inky Johnson and the Dooleys, Barbara and Vince Dooley. And we try to have a VIP party where the guests that pay extra get to have extra time with the coaches, and that's been that allows us to help cover some of the costs also, because there's some people that really just want to get pictures with them and talk to them and so forth. So we try to make it very festive, very light. We're not hitting anybody over the head with marriage stuff, but they always promote strong, healthy marriages. Last year, Bobby Bowden was wonderful. He says, I'm invited to speak so many hundreds and thousands of times, but I've never been asked to speak at a marriage organization. And he says, this is key. We need to be doing this. We need to teach these kids how to make some good choices. So it really is important. And next. I think that's the end of my slides. Okay.
Let me, Kathy, I have a couple questions for you when it comes with a lot of people are asking questions about your tailgating. First of all, it looks like the guys were really encouraged to wear their football jerseys, which seems like a really laid back evening. One person wants to know.
Yeah, I filmed.
Go ahead. Go ahead. You go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I found that the guys don't want to dress up. They do not like black tie events, at least here in the South. So we say come in your shorts if you want to, just for team shirt.
Oh, very good. So how exactly...
And we serve barbecue.
Great. Oh, you serve barbecue. Great. So how exactly do you make those connections with the coaches and the speakers? And can you tell us a little bit about if you have to pay for those and how much you usually raise in one of these tailgates? So a lot around the speakers and the payment for those and the money.
We have, we looked online for an agent, found an agent that had, to be honest, a Christian emphasis, because that's going to match up usually a little bit more. And we have been working with an agent that has several coaches or sports figures that he works with. And he actually has been great about helping us get the different ones, get different coaches that are retired, etc., because they are wanting to get out there and get the word out. But now that they're retired, an easy way for them to make some money. Most all have been very positive about our cause. And it costs us, we try to keep it less than $8,000. And but you also have to take in consideration, we had a little challenge because last year we wanted to do some branding and bring recognition, because we're small, we're still grassroots, we're little, people didn't know that much about us, and sometimes you need to take a splash and you gotta get the advertising and get the word out. And so Bobby Bowden was a huge name. Vince Dooley was a big name, but Bobby Bowden was even bigger for around here, believe it or not. And he made a big splash, and we were able to get in with a lot more people because of him. It was very challenging, though, because our agent wasn't his agent, and he didn't even know about the event till 2 nights before. And we had to fly him down in a chartered plane. It was kind of horrendous. So the reason I say those things is know what your travel, know what every expense is, be very specific on what you're asking for and what you have to pay for, because you can have some surprises that will eat up all your profits.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, Kathy, along those lines, what you also mentioned too was a lot of times you try to get all of those upfront costs paid for with the sponsorships. So do you want to mention that?
Yes, we go through and we get this year we've got about 20 sponsors, and we try to keep it simple. We've got the Boys and Girls Club, and we've got all kinds of different organizations that are national organizations in our area, but they'll ask for these $4,000 or $5,000 sponsorships. Well, we're a little town and we've been struggling, so we decided to go with smaller and not try to ask for too much all at once. So we start with a $250, and they don't get a lot for that. They get advertisement mission in the program and during the program, etc. And then we have a $500, and that's a little bit more, and then they get to come to the VIP party, and then the $1,000, and their whole table, if they want to bring 10 people to the VIP party, and they get a lot of advertisement, and they get the web and that kind of stuff. We try to get.
Yeah, I think I just lost Kathy, so I can finish it because she shared it with me before. And
yeah.
Okay, nope, you're back. So you just cut out when you were talking about the $1,000 sponsorships and.
Sorry. The $1,000 sponsorships will give them a lot more recognition. We try to get them on the program, on social media. We try to mention who all our sponsors are as much as possible, sending it out about a month before to hit strong with the different sponsors. The 250 and the 500 don't get quite as much. So we'll give those big donors a lot more recognition. And what we found is the big organizations are going for the big bucks. Well, people are starting to see us and they go, oh, this is a little organization and they're really doing a lot of stuff and this is great and we don't have to pay as much. And they kind of like this. But we get everything covered. We don't charge, but it's kind of like the car wash effect.
And the point that she was about to make is really important. They don't charge for the actual dinner. What they do is they allow people to come for free, and then by coming for free, then the people are much more willing to give more than what the cost of the meal was, and instead they end up raising a lot more money than if they just charged for the meal.
Right. And you know, Kathy, that comes to a really big question here. After the expense of the speaker and whatnot, what actually do you net in finances on this kind of event? Did you hear me?
At this point, we're still building. Yeah, it was coming in and out.
I'm sorry.
We netted last year 11,000. We're expecting to net. We're hoping to net at least 15,000 this year. And you build each year. Don't expect to make that on the first year. It's been 10 years. We're a small community, and so we're starting out small and we build.
Yeah, and to net $11,000 with that unexpected expense of the charter plane is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
That probably ate into it.
And you're definitely, and you're definitely, again, building a fundraising base that you can use for the years to come, which is really important, I'm sure.
Yes. Exactly. But use your creativity. We found a gentleman that was willing to go get him in his jet, and that happened to be a friend of one of our board members, and they went down and got him and just charged us for the gas. That wasn't cheap, but it's cheaper than a full chartered plane.
Yeah. So once again, another example of having active members of your board.
Exactly.
That's the truth. Your volunteers and your board, you rely on them.
Yes.
So.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much, Kathy, and thank you, Erin and Carol, and it's just been absolutely tremendous, especially because all of the examples that you guys have given are all fundraising things literally anybody who's going to spend the time and the effort can do in their local community, and you're much more likely to succeed at doing these local things than if you try to go after a big federal grant. If you get a big federal grant, it's wonderful, but those are few and far between versus what we've talked about today. Anybody can do in all of their local communities. And so once again, just wanted to thank you, and also wanted to thank all those who joined us. If you do wish to order any Dibble materials following this broadcast, we've got a great deal for you as far as free shipping. Just use that code webinar at the checkout. We also have a brief survey that we'd love for you to fill out. It helps us to improve the webinars, and if you have any questions, you can send an email to either Kathy or I. You can see our email addresses up on the screen, and we also very much look forward to staying in contact with you. You can sign up if you haven't already signed up for our Dibble newsletter. Highly recommend that you do so. We're able to let you know about the upcoming webinars, about funding, about research, basically anything to do with helping teens or young adults with relationship skills. And then real quick, Kathy, so what is our August webinar about?
Well, the August webinar, I'm very excited. We're also going to have some guest speakers on it. It's Getting to the Heart of the Matter, Relationship Education for Juvenile Detention and Reentry Programming. And I'm so excited. Irene Barley, who is on our staff, is going to be the moderator of this, but we're going to have Marsha White. She is with Impact Community Action out of Columbus, Ohio. And we're also going to have Laura Waggle. She's with the Perry County Detention Center in Ohio. So we'll have lots to learn there. But I do want you to remind you that we have recorded this. I will have it will be up on our website within 3 working days, hopefully by Monday. I will have a PDF of our slides there for those that are interested in getting those as well. So, and please feel free to call either or get in touch with Erin or I if you have any other questions. And we appreciate it. And thank you. You have a great day.